Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really brilliant masterclass by Vijinder Chauhan on the multi-layered architecture you absolutely need to conquer the UPSC exams. You know, if you're a beginner looking up at the absolute mountain that is the civil services examination, you probably already realize that jumping in without a plan is a total recipe for disaster. But listen, we aren't just talking about a basic study schedule today. We're talking about a comprehensive, top-down master strategy.
First things first, we need a massive reality check here. The core focus of this examination, it's literally just to eliminate you. The UPSC is not designed to simply test what you know, right? It's designed to actively filter you out from a vast sea of roughly 1 million applicants. Understanding that one fact completely changes the entire way you need to approach your preparation.
So, to navigate this wild, unpredictable system, we're going to build a master strategy across 6 distinct layers: the elimination game, the knowledge architecture, mastering exam craft, developing your personality, the UPSC ecosystem, and finally, winning the psychological battle.
All right, let's kick things off with Layer 1, the elimination game.
There's a crazy contrast between the exams you're used to and what you're about to face. I mean, think about university exams. They're comforting, right? You get a set syllabus, you study it, you write the paper, and you get graded on your knowledge. The UPSC exam is completely different. It's deliberately unpredictable because its core structure is designed to eliminate people at every single stage. Think about it. If everyone studied perfectly and arrived with the exact same knowledge, the system would still have to find a way to eliminate almost everyone. So you aren't just trying to score high, you're actively trying to protect yourself from being cut.
Which brings us to Layer 2, the knowledge architecture. So what does that knowledge actually look like? Well, the source calls it the honors level. See, this exam demands generalist knowledge across a massive range of subjects, but it expects a depth that goes way beyond a standard undergraduate degree. It's slightly less specialized than a master's degree, sure, but it requires you to truly understand, deeply engage with, and critically analyze specific areas. No more just memorizing things. You can't just stop at step 1 and call it a day. Your brain literally has to evolve how it processes information to reach that honors level. You go from gathering basic facts to understanding the concepts behind them to applying those concepts. But step 4, that is where the real magic happens. Critique and analyze. For instance, you shouldn't just know that the right to property was removed as a fundamental right. You need to understand the jurisprudence behind why it was removed, and then critically analyze the merits and flaws of that decision. And honestly, this is especially challenging if you come from, say, an engineering or science background where rote application is the norm and critical analysis wasn't actively taught.
Now, how on earth do you retain all that deep critical knowledge? Here's the kicker. An absolute minimum of 40 to 50% of your study time has to be ruthlessly, and I mean ruthlessly, dedicated strictly to revision. If you study new concepts for 4 hours, you need to spend another 3 to 4 hours revising what you've already learned. Just ticking off a syllabus checklist means absolutely nothing if you can't actually recall and critique the information on exam day.
Moving right along to Layer 3, mastering exam craft.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material. This examination is not just about listening to music. It is also about being a musician. Think about it. Understanding the principles of a guitar doesn't mean you actually know how to play it. Just knowing the theory of these subjects won't save you. You have to know how to play the instrument of the exam itself.
Your craft actually breaks down into 2 totally different skill sets. First, surviving the tricky multiple-choice variables in the prelims. That's managing your time, navigating negative marking, and using elimination strategies. But then we look at the mains, and that is where the real game is won. The mains is all about the sheer art of answer writing. You could literally have the exact same knowledge level as the person sitting next to you, but if your handwriting is illegible, or your sentence structure is a mess, or you can't write concisely, the examiner simply cannot give you the marks. You just have to master this craft through relentless daily practice.
Now let's look at Layer 4, developing your personality.
3. That's a really important number. That's the number of years you might have between the very first day you start preparing and the day you finally sit for that final personality test or the interview. Look, the interview is not something you can just cram for at the last minute in a month. It requires 2 to 3 years of steady, conscious development starting from day 1.
You need to be actively improving your communication, enhancing your active listening, developing that analytical thinking, and continuously updating your knowledge by actually engaging with the world around you. And here is a pretty harsh truth. If you aren't actively enjoying the process of building these vital traits every single day, the sheer, mind-numbing boredom of preparing for years, it will completely consume you. You actually have to enjoy becoming the kind of person who is capable of holding this office.
All right, zooming out a bit to layer 5, the UPSC ecosystem.
I want you to honestly ask yourself right now, why do you actually want this job? Because let's be real for a second, it's definitely not the highest paying job in the world. It might not even be the most lucrative or glamorous on a day-to-day basis. Yet, millions of people still dream of it and sacrifice years of their youth for it. Why is that? Well, the answer lies in the ecosystem. It's this giant, complex web of our history, our culture, and our social and economic systems that actually planted this seed in your mind in the first place. You have to understand this ecosystem. We're constantly sold these highly sensationalized, rare, rags-to-riches miracles, or these lone wolf success stories by coaching center ads. But the actual reality? 95% of successful candidates succeed because they deeply understand this ecosystem. They recognize their own unique social privileges and deprivations, and they operate smartly within that reality, rather than banking on a miracle.
And finally, we reach the sixth and arguably most important layer of this entire strategy, winning the psychological battle.
The speaker strongly urges us to just drop the exhausting war and battle metaphors. You aren't a soldier in a trench, you're a student navigating a deeply taxing psychological landscape. By dropping that whole war mentality, you can actually focus on preparing specific, practical mental tools to navigate the journey.
In fact, the speaker notes that when you look at the almost zombie-like state of exhausted candidates in these major coaching hubs, this exam literally needs a statutory warning label, just like a pack of cigarettes. It can make you mentally and physically ill. You wouldn't wait until you're stranded in the middle of a desert to start looking for water, right? Similarly, you have to plan your mental health care proactively. Figure out your coping mechanisms long before the depression or burnout hits. Prevention is absolutely better than cure here.
When the immense pressure inevitably hits, never, ever compare your journey to anyone else's. Comparing how much your friends studied today to what you studied, that's toxic. Your paths, your privileges, your grasping power, they are all entirely unique to you. The only healthy comparison is isolated completely to yourself.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one single powerful question to carry into your studies. When the anxiety hits, just block out the noise of a million other candidates. Look at your own preparation and ask yourself, are you 0.1% better than your own yesterday? Because if you can conquer your own mind today, what is stopping you from conquering the ecosystem tomorrow?